work of dark forces. Appearance of false prophets and false Christs. It is a frightening work of evil forces in the last time before the end. The Prince of Darkness constantly drives them to confusion, and in darkness of spirit, in which men live in this time, they also succeed all too well because they find hearing, and men believe, and whether it is the thickest errors and lies, which are submitted to them, they accept it as truth and become ever darker in their spirit. But every man could recognize it brightest as what it is when he only wants to see me himself around enlightenment. If he wants to do something seems doubtful. But the spiritual arrogance of men is already so great that they do not consider it necessary to ask this question, but are convinced of the sincerity of those who are deeply mistaken. Administer. The ignorance of the people is increasing more and more instead of being remedied. But I have foretold you that many false prophets and false Christs will rise from the dead, that they will present you with miracles that my opponent works. I have admonished you not to believe. But you men are not allowed to reject everyone as false prophets. But you have to earnestly check them for their authenticity. You must believe that even true prophets, who want to help you to your salvation. You are not allowed to accept everyone, but also not to reject everyone who in the last times before the end has proved to be a prophet, as in my service is standing, introducing yourselves. But you have certain characteristics of a genuine prophet: that he walks inconspicuously and announces my word to you, that he points out the end to you, that he gives you in complete unselfishness what he receives directly from me. As I myself did when I was on earth walked. My envoys do not appear in splendor and splendor. My envoys will not walk differently among you men as I myself have done. And never will I hide myself behind high and highest ranks, never will I reveal myself through such men who are at the highest top of worldly organizations, because these are not the right successors of me, who I myself, completely penniless and simple, felt attracted to those who were poor and weak and in trouble. I would certainly also be able to appear there when the right succession of those me would be proved by the fact that they themselves rejected all external pomp. If their work were to proceed in silence and a clear distance from traditional customs. When they listen to the voice of their spirit and let themselves be guided. To give in silent care to the poor and weak. That to be a loving father to those in need, to alleviate need, and to truly follow the path of discipleship by committing themselves to the pure truth that a spirit-filled human being now has to use, also clearly sees in himself. But this is prevented by my opponent, and that is why he fakes them, what lets them sink even deeper into spiritual darkness. My opponent has great power before the end, but he could not use it where he finds resistance. The most intimate union with me through unselfish love activity. But such would express itself differently because it does not show itself outwardly, it does not come forward, it does not support a power, which before collapse stands, because a spirit enlightened by love also clearly recognizes the spiritual law of men and its cause. And a man whose spirit is enlightened cannot confess untruth, but he goes to war against it. Do not be beguiled and ask me for enlightenment when you doubt, but do not take thoughtlessly of what my opponent puts before you to darken your spirit even more. Where bright light shines there is truth, there reveal, I and my prophets arise, who warn and admonish you and who always take the goings-on of my opponent. Rebrand. But in the bustle of the world the truth, the light, is not to be found. And worldly is everything, which sends out its glare, which does not luminosity possesses. But where light shines, there I myself step appearance, there is truth, there is my spirit, and this also brightly illuminates the pushing Satan. Amen.